Okay, we're live now. We're live.
Like that. Yeah.
Yo, we got Steve. Big Steve's glass box is in the chat. He said, "Here we go." with the laughing, with the laughing emojis. That's so funny.
Crazy. What's going on?
Nothing much. I see you. Before you guys missed this, but we were getting on. Aaron was like, "Oh man, my room looks so terrible. Like I don't know what to turn my camera on."
Yeah, it looks terrible.
like I
You
hate.
know, it's just the right distance away that everything looks. I mean, you just see green, so you can't see the algae because it's hard to tell what's algae and what's not from this distance.
Right.
You know
So,
what? Let me actually. I'm gonna set up downstairs too. I'm gonna turn off my camera for a minute and be
Oh,
right back
okay.
on.
Look. Now we started
there you go.
something. Everyone is
Uh-huh.
scrambling to their fish rooms, like with monitors. And
Is there a way to
what are you trying to do,
wait a minute?
man? What have you been,
I
Watch
just
me
want to
trip
see what
walking
you're
down
showing.
the stairs with my laptop.
bro? Have you ever
Hold
like
on, my
tried
wish
to
does
carry
just
like a bucket of water and your laptop at the same time, like, or am I the
No, I've never been that crazy.
okay?
not that bulgy.
It's just me. Okay.
All the lights are off.
I see when I click off
All
of
right.
the Discord share thing, I'm noticing that it does a little thing. But yo, Michael says
Let's
neat
see.
in the chat. Um, Aaron, what are you working on over there?
So I tried to get down here while we were talking and pick some eggs.
What eggs? It killifish?
Yeah, these are the Apio simian striatum.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, I've been in a little bit of a drought, and then recently things started raining. So
Yeah. Yo,
strike while the iron is hot.
it rained today, and my pistos laid eggs for the fourth time. So now I'm really starting to think it's not a coincidence. They've laid eggs every time it's rained, and they've eaten
All
them
right.
on the third day every single time.
How's the noise?
Sounds great. And Jaden Cheeks in the chat, he says those buckets get heavy. LOL.
Yeah, they do.
Hey yo.
Yes, they do.
Um. All right, guys. So, you're over there picking striatum eggs. I'm here crossing my fingers that my pistos don't eat their eggs again. What do you got going on in the fish room, John? You've been
Uh, Nothing much right now. I mean, as you can see, all the lights are turned off. I've got a bunch of guys thinking I'm about to feed them, even if the lights are off.
right.
A lot of stuff on the floor because I'm horrible about picking things up.
I mean,
But I did just
Someone
set
too.
up that pegboard, so the room looks a little bit neater than it normally does.
we got a little bit of a mobile tour. Hey, yo, we got a Renee in
Yeah,
the
let's do
chat
that.
says hello to Renee. And then CVS
Going on?
570 says, "What type of a pistos do you have?" I have McMaster Eye Gold Shoulder, and well, John, you have some of pistos too, don't you?
I have McMastery of like two or three different bloodlines all mixed together because they were killing off each other's
Oh,
mates.
oh,
So now there is a harem with the surviving male and three females. He's a lucky guy.
you've got the
Uh,
Hunger Games of.
Histogramma Hongs. Sorry.
I said you got the Hunger Games going on with the episto.
Yeah, it was the Hunger Games. I got a Pistogramma Hongsloy, a Pistogramma Panduro, and a Pistogramma Ortegai.
Nice, nice. Glassbox
Ooh,
Diaries, what's up? How's it going? He says, "Good evening, guys. Good evening."
what's up?
Jesse says the crew is together. Yes, we are together. So I guess we can hop into it. I should have gotten Bluetooth headphones so I could be like Aaron and picking eggs or something. I like that. But
I was trying to. Sorry, I was trying to keep myself a little bit busy while you guys are having a conversation. But
no, I like that. Like I
got
think that's how it
I
should
got
be.
got roped into turning my camera on and everything. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh, you just had to flex the room. So terrible.
It's the peer pressure.
Well, I wanted to get into the first
Well, let's get into it.
yeah, I want to get into the
Yeah.
first topic. Did you guys watch the Dan's Fish unboxing most recently? Did you see it?
Oh,
I watched most of it.
Okay, how about you, Aaron? Did you see it?
I'm a sucker for Dan's fish videos, so yeah, I think I saw it.
Okay, okay. So for people who aren't kind of like introduced to this, and disclaimer, we all love Dan's fish, but he posted a very interesting unboxing video, and there was something about it that was just like a little. I was like, that's kind of. I feel like it's worth talking about, right? Oops, that was loud. So I'm gonna share the clip real quick, and I'll share it with you guys too, so you can. Whoops, I don't want to share this window. I'm not. It's gonna just be like 30 seconds. I'm not gonna make us watch the entire thing. But basically, he gets in the fish, and then he shows us their screening process. All right, so you're gonna see he's gonna pull up the Corys, and then he's gonna go straight these panda Corys, and he's gonna go straight into what their new screening process is. So. Is that gross looking? All right, so I'm just pausing just so he gets the bag of Corys. He's like, they look great. They look fantastic. We finally found a good supplier. And then he's showing like stuff they found. They they bring it to the lab. So they took a panda Cory from that bag, clove oiled it, and that is for the purpose of seeing if the entire batch has any kind of disease. Like this one panda Cory is going to help them check for anything. And I'm just going to skip to the punch. They do an initial scraping on the mucus. They find nothing. They do another scrape on the gill, and this is what they found. This is what they've killed the panda Cory to find. So that's the skin scraping. So they found nothing. They found one gill fluke on the panda Cory. So to me, that kind of was just like interesting because Dan's fish, their whole thing is like reducing the amount of fish that die in the process of going from suppliers to the customer. And here you have them bringing in the fish. They're like, the panda Cory looks great. Immediately execute it just to find a gill fluke when I'm assuming they're probably going to treat all the fish anyway. So I just want to get what you guys' reactions to that was.
I would question the efficiency of that method. And also, I mean, think about it. How do you even know that that one corridor is indicative of all the diseases and other pathogens that could be in a shipment of what, 200, 300 corridors?
Right.
I mean, I'm not advocating getting a larger sample size, but
I think the real problem is they didn't kill enough.
I'm just saying if, what if, God forbid there's some parasite infecting, 10 corridors in that shipment? You know, one out of 300, you're not going to have a good chance of finding that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in what other people have to say. I think there's value in screening. I kind of, I don't want to be callous towards the fish, but I do think there's value in screening. But I also feel like the way he pitched it was like we're going to screen the things from this supplier to see if this supplier sends good fish. But I mean, I think the reality of fish keeping is like you're going to get a lot of diseases, and one shipment
Mhm.
might be good and another shipment might be bad. And so
Right.
it unless the supplier is consistently shipping, fish with disease, I don't see how you can use that as a way to say that's going to be a good supplier, whatever I'm going to use them. It just feels like, I even want to say it's misapplied. I think there's value in screening,
Yeah.
but I just don't know that you get enough good information from that one
Yep.
video to justify it.
Yeah, and James
No,
Holbrook in the chat, he said, what would you do differently?" I guess kind of like with what you said, like you guys said, like I don't think it'd be representative. I feel like what I would do differently is maybe this is something I do if the fish came in obviously sick, and I just wanted to meet like. You see the one with like a giant Popeye and like fungus flowing out of its gills like a long fin or something. You're just like, okay,
Yeah.
let's just put you under the
I have
microscope.
I have had fish come in that condition, and I immediately applied my method of sick treatment, which is a piscivore. At the time, it was a pike
oh
cichlid.
man,
See, that
I
yeah, I was worried.
okay. Let's
I
change.
was worried about
I'm
seeing the
changing the
challenge.
title. Is John ethical?
I was
oh,
trying to.
I mean, you know me. I think that quarantining and medication is kind of I don't want to say a placebo because there are cases where it works. Like I've treated ick successfully in a group of black neon tetras with medication I got from Petco, and they survived. The ick went away after a little bit. Like definitely the medications work sometime, but I have found over time that the best way to deal with disease is light stocking in a tank, keep them healthy, keep them low stress. Like I don't really believe that. I mean, like, let's say you set up a 10-gallon quarantine tank. It's bare bottom, you put a couple flower bottoms in there for hiding space. Is it better for the fish to be there for like a month under quarantine where it's like it's in a bare environment? It's a temporary setup to begin with, so you're going to move it in a month to a permanent home versus just immediately put it in a permanent home, where it's got a lot of hiding spaces. It's, hopefully got plenty of space to move
Like
around.
less stress,
Um,
better immune systems, kind
I
of
don't
area.
know. I've done that with both freshwater and saltwater, and over time, I think that I definitely. I mean, I've kept a lot of fish. I've definitely had plenty of occasions where disease has been a problem. But I think that quarantine isn't necessarily a 100% mandatory. That being said, I'm speaking from the perspective of
Right.
somebody who, with a small fish room, like if I was dealing with incoming fish at the scale that Dan's probably is, then in that case, quarantine is probably a much, I would say in that case, especially when it's profit driven, quarantine becomes a lot more important.
Yeah, you
But
have to.
yeah,
But the okay, Bob
My thing
Bravo.
is,
One second, Bob Bravo in
oh,
the chat. He said, "I didn't know Dan's Fish did that." Yeah, he just posted. It's just a recent video that they talked about that. I want to know what Dan Fish does if the euthanized fish is sick. Do they change the treatment for the rest of the fish? And so yeah, that is like the point of it. Is what he says in the video is since they've hired a veterinarian and stuff, they've learned that what they thought a lot of fish died of isn't actually what they died of. So this is so they can actually treat for the proper thing, which I think is great. But that's also why I'm kind of like, then do you just do it if the fish seem really sick and you can't figure it out? Because my question to him would be, one, do they do this just for the first time they get a new shipment in from a supplier, or do they take a fish from every bag of every shipment? And is only the cheap fish, and then if do they still treat everything? Because if they still treat everything, I'd look at the bag of nice looking panda cories, and they're probably gonna that single gill fluke isn't gonna be a problem with whatever they're treating with.
so I don't have a problem with what he's doing. I think he's got his methods. Like I just think for me the issue, and it's everywhere in the hobby. It's like if you get your fish from this person, they got the best fish, the healthiest fish, the cleanest fish. And to be fair, there are people that abuse them, right? And there's people that you're probably gonna get cramp conditions, don't take care of the fish, don't medicate, don't change the water. Like that stuff exists, right?
Right.
But the idea that like somebody else is going to give you 100% or 99% quality healthy fish, like that's not realistic. You know what I mean? Like I just don't think. And so I just have a problem with this idea that like there's like obviously there are good folks and there are not so great, wholesalers, suppliers, retailers, etc. But the idea that you can measure whether or not they're good or bad by the fact that you got a sick fish or not, like that's not the right criteria to me. Like
Right.
I would expect, and I actually, have received fish that I've lost from suppliers that I trust, from people who are doing that I feel are doing the right thing. You're still gonna have sickness. You're still gonna have death. You know, complete transparency. Like I got a fish from Dan that didn't survive. Right, one fish out of the whole bunch just didn't do well when I got him, and obviously took care of it. And but that to me, like that's not Dan's problem. That's
Right.
you're dealing with live animals. Some of them are gonna be sick.
I feel
That's
like
just the
the
reality.
only time that I feel like it's the supplier's fault, especially like with shipping, is like one, if obviously if they show up dead in the bag, like
Yeah,
then I just feel like someone seriously messed up. And then two, it's like if they have parasites and it's very obvious. Like that's like the only two things. Like if they come in as like
yeah,
calamus worms like pouring out of the fish,
Yeah.
like then I feel like they didn't even look at it. Uh, and Bob Bravo says I've heard fish can sometimes die just from stress.
yes. I mean, I think you know, stress. I think is just think about it. We say stress like humans. When we think about stress, we like, oh, you had a rough day, but like it's a different thing, and even still with like the way we think about it as humans, like oh, stress kills or whatever. Like people, whatever strain on your heart or whatever. Everybody, we kind of have these kind of colloquialisms like stress kills,
Right.
but it's true, and it's the same with fish, right? And so I think the number one thing that we do to like really damage the fish is like the stressful conditions. Like even things like putting them in a tank with another fish that's more aggressive than they can sort of tolerate. That kind of stress can kill a fish, right? Imagine you got to fight every day, right?
Right.
If you got to fight every single day, or every hour of the day because they don't sleep, right? That's going to do something to you. I don't think we talk about that enough in the hobby. It's always like, oh, I got a sick fish from Petco, and it's like,
That's
no,
true.
like there's
I
And
mean, have
that
you seen some of those Petco tanks? They're not exactly restful places for the fish in them.
the beta wall at the Petco was so bad the other day. There's like three dead and two more almost dead
oh
betas. And I
man,
was like, that was terrible. But okay, just to kind of focus in, do you guys do you feel like it's ethical to do a screening? Let's just say hypothetically, every bag of fish that comes in, you take one, you slaughter it, and you put it under a microscope. Ethical, yes or no, John?
Ethical is a really tough word. I would say I understand the reasoning. I personally
Okay,
could
okay, wait,
probably
1 second.
justify it from a
How about this? On a personal level, like, do you feel like it's ethical for you? And then, like, a you on Dan's fish, do you feel like I think Dan's fish? I have no problem with them doing that.
on a personal level in my situation, I don't think it would be ethical. I think from in a commercial setting, if I was dealing with the fish coming in at the scale Dan's does, I could possibly justify it to myself, but I'm still not 100% sure that the logic is sound. I might, I mean, I guess it depends. Like space wise, could he do like a dedicated quarantine setup for observation or something like that? But I don't know. I mean,
Probably
I
limited.
would assume, yeah, I would assume
this is
from a
from the
profit, like,
this from the guy who was gonna just straight up drop the fish into the piscivore tank.
He's like, I
no,
don't
no,
even
no,
believe in
no, no.
quarantine. What do you mean you know space for quarantine?
If I was selling the fish coming in, I would probably justify the quarantine. But as it is just for my own personal use, where I mean, you guys have seen my tanks. I try to like keep it to like, one or two schooling fish, some kind of centerpiece,
Yeah.
like some angelfish, a dwarf cichlid, some
And
catfish.
when you
But
say
I
one or two schooling fish, you're saying one or two species, not literally like one or two
yeah,
tetras
yeah,
there.
I try not to have one of those tanks where there's like seven different groups of six tetras in like a 55-gallon tank.
No.
I think that's unnatural. I think that's a little bit garish. If I'm using that word correctly.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I'd rather have like 20 cardinals or neons in a tank rather than, like just go to Petco and get 6 of every species.
All right. Well, wait, Aaron, you got to answer the ethics question. We can't let you get away with this.
I mean, look, okay, okay. So you said personally, ethically. Okay, so personally, ethically, I don't have a problem.
Okay.
I think it's a little. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem that Dan does it. The only problem I have is, like I said, the idea that like, oh, if you screen for these kinds of diseases, it means that like it's like a stamp, like, oh, these fish are going to be good. Like, I don't think it means that. I think there's probably one gill fluke on that fish. There's probably a handful on a couple other ones. And if those fish get super stressed out, you're going to have an outbreak. And I don't think there's really anything that anybody can realistically do about it. And I think we set ourselves up for failure to think that there is. Like, it's just a part of, things get sick. There's bacteria and organisms all in our water. You can't just like get clean fish and prevent yourself from having that problem. You got to be prepared. You got to quarantine. You got to reduce stress. Like, those are the ways that you got to deal with it as a hobby.
Yeah. And I'll add,
So
John. Yeah, John, go ahead.
You just reminded me of something I read once about a guy finding diseases spreading in his fish room through I think it was on the Reef to Reef forum, but diseases spreading from tank to tank through the humidity in the fish room. The pathogens were moving, what's the word, aerosolized in the water coming out of the tanks and
don't say that.
evaporation,
Don't
right?
say
So
that.
it's like,
Come on, man. We were just talking about
it's
setting
hard
up
to,
fans for ventilation for like the isopods. Now I'm just thinking like mold spores and shit like everywhere.
I'm just saying it is very very hard to, especially the more tanks you have, to guarantee that you will not cross contaminate. I mean, like think about how many of us actually like sterilize a net after using it in a fish tank. How many of
On
us
my neck,
wash our hands in between touching? Yeah.
I wash my hands
I, I
in between tanks.
I wash my hands
Yeah, that's what I'm
a
saying. It's
lot.
hard. It's hard to guarantee.
That's why I wear.
There's.
I told you I wear gloves because like if I don't, I like wash my hands so much like my hands start cracking.
Yeah.
In
I mean,
between
I hear you.
tanks, though.
My hands are like always feeling dry, but no, I don't. I personally don't. I'm admitting that I don't. I'm saying that,
Uh,
I could like pick up disease from this tank, some bacteria or something could be on my arm hair, and then I go take some plants out of this tank and,
Right.
something spread.
Well, let me answer
you guys
the.
can't see where I'm pointing. This guy, you said you wash between tanks.
I wash my hands between tanks sometimes, but it's more. It's not about cross contamination. It's more just like I feel like I have to wash my hands. Like that's. But I do rinse. I rinse nets and like our faucet shoots out super hot water. So sometimes when I'm not in a rush, I'll do a net. But like yeah, I'm not perfect. But on my part for answering the ethics question, for me personally, I'm so bad at killing things. Like it wouldn't feel ethical for me personally, but I would never project on to other people. I think it's ethical for the business. Like I'm not like that mad about it, but I just don't think it makes sense unless the fish is already like sick. Like to me, the only reason I would kind of feel it's unethical is just because there's so much about not killing fish. So then to take a healthy fish and then euthanize it just kind of really it disconnects. Like I have a Dad's Fish hoodie
Listen,
over there and I'm just like looking at the hoodie like Dan, I just can't get over it. He said
that
That hoodie
99.
was
the panda looks great, and then the next scene, okay, so we put the clove oil in.
The
that hoodie was built on the backs of dead
999 is tough
quarries.
to get to. That nine. What is it? Is he? Did he still say? I remember a couple of years ago, maybe a couple of years ago, a year or two or so ago, when he first opened the warehouse, he was trying to get to I think 5 nines or whatever. So 99.999.
Oh yeah.
So at work we have these systems, and the idea is that to get 5 nines, right? But that's you have to be 10 times what no 100 times better for each nine.
Mm,
It's almost impossible, right? So I think things that you got to do to get from 90, he's basically at 99% right now.
yep.
Things that you're gonna have to do to get to 99.99 it's gonna just keep going up and up. Because you got to get 100 times better. That's got to come from somewhere. So
Right.
I don't fault
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Bob in the chat he says I just cross my fingers that my aquarium plants don't come with disease.
Yeah, you guys. I'm like the Wild Wild West. You don't want to talk.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear about me. This is man. A plant? Oh man. I hear people quarantine plants, and I'm just like, ugh.
They like
Maybe you don't want my plant.
the peroxide and bleach dips. Like, oh my god, like
Oh, you do that?
no, but a lot of people do. A lot of it also comes from like, I don't want any algae or any pest snails in my tank. Like that's what a lot of motivates it more than disease, I think, for most people.
It's in the animal's guts. It's in the snake. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. Like you have to go so far to get this stuff out and really have like 100%. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna
Yep.
fast the fish, make sure everything is completely clear, fast the snails. Like it's untenable.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
If you
Drop the
if you
plant in your
take
tank.
a mason jar full of water and put it on your back porch, I bet you'll find algae start growing in it, just spores carried in the air. Unless you live like in the desert. Like if you're out in like Arizona, maybe you're safe, but
Okay.
you know,
Well,
that stuff's out there. I wouldn't worry about a little bit of algae on a plant unless it's like it's covered in BBA algae or something. Then maybe, but
yeah.
I would stress.
Yeah, I think that I've definitely taken inspiration from your stocking. Like, I definitely have a lot less issues in tanks where there's less fish, but it takes so much self control because you just look at the space and you're like,
That
I could squeeze in just a couple more projects if I just put.
that is the hard part.
Okay,
You guys
so
don't want to see this tank.
oh man,
I don't want to see.
is that the
It's like
Thunderdome?
the catch-all tank.
Mm.
Yeah, it's the catch-all tank. It's got a bunch of stuff.
So
And I'm not
That
going to
makes
tell you
sense
how
with
big it is.
no, go for it.
how much fish you breed though. I wouldn't be surprised that you have a lot of extras.
Yeah. Well, that number's gonna be coming down though, because I got those Bolana socks. So
The Bolana
big
socks are gonna
Phillies.
be eating good in the catch-all tank.
Oh my gosh.
And you guys thought I was unethical.
Hey, aren't they obligate piscivores? I mean, he's got to feed them.
I bet you
Yeah,
they'll
they
go
don't.
after crickets.
Oh, okay,
I,
sure.
I don't know. I don't know. I'll try it. I'll try it.
All
Uh,
right. So
If they
conclusions
don't
on
eat the crick.
conclusions on Dan is I feel like we all said our piece, but basically, it seems the consensus is like ethically like whatever, but a lot of questions about how effective it is, like achieving the goal, really. And and I don't really want to talk about Dance Fish too much longer, so I want to get to other stuff. But I did also see in his stream, he says he's brought in pearl gouramis that don't have the iridio virus or whatever. He brought them in from a supplier, sent I think he sent them all to a lab, I don't know, and they tested them and said they didn't have the virus. So now he says he has a supplier where he can tell people they're iridio virus free pearl gouramis.
So I was thinking about buying some Programi Saturday. So now you got me thinking.
Yeah.
let's see what else he gets in there, because I do want some sparkling or croaking around me. So
Okay. Okay.
'Cause they were at Hot for $5.99 each when I was there yesterday, and I was tempted. Oh, but that actually reminds me, just sort of small sidebar. But if you guys ever want to go into Hot and I get really good service, I was wearing a backpack because I was on my way back from work and I didn't trust my laptop in the parking lot. And they kept stopping me and asking, "Hey, do you need any help?"
let's you.
First time anybody's ever done that there.
Wow.
You
Wow.
should let the air thing. Bring the
Okay.
portable air pump and just let it hang out your pocket. You probably get extra service.
You got to go in like one of those like people buy those jackets for like concealed carry that's supposed to be like concealed, but it's like super obvious the purpose of it. Like,
It's got like a dozen, convenient hand-shaped pockets.
like, why does he
It's
have a
crazy though.
tactical belt on? What's going on? Okay, okay, okay.
Just no less.
So that's Dan's fish, and honestly, I think it'll be good. I'm gonna throw the logo of the things we're talking about on the screen. That makes sense. But okay, so that's Dan's fish. Now I wanted to talk about. I put in a little bit of clickbait in the title. Petco is the best LFS. Uh, you know, Petco has been stepping up their game in the aquatics department in some places. You can order fish online from them, and their website says that they're using biodegradable plastic bags in 700 locations for shipping fish, which I thought was interesting. They have this whole ESG portal on their website, and they tout in their annual summary report that 92% of the fish they sell are from aquaculture. And they do include
Okay.
saltwater and corals in that. So I'm assuming all their saltwater stuff is the 8%. Probably. But where do you guys have you seen Petco kind of improve things in ways where you look at local fish stores and you're like, you guys might want to also step up in that way?
Petco has definitely stepped up their game. The first time I went to a Petco was a freshman in high school back in like 2008, 2009. And I remember and bear in mind, we had just moved to the East Coast. My parents bribed me with being okay with it by you can have a bigger fish tank. So, we're getting a 75-gallon tank back when you could still get a 75-gallon tank with $1 per gallon sale. And I wanted some cherry barbs. And the fish person there was like, oh, what kind of cherry barbs do you want? And I was like, oh, can I have like a couple of the males and then like 6 females? And she was like, oh, how do you tell the difference? And I was like, the males are the red ones. And she's like, oh, I've always wondered why they were two different kinds of cherry barb.
Oh my god.
So,
Oh my god.
uh,
It's hilarious.
Two different
now
kinds.
I
I mean,
mean, that was that and another place that was one of those, like combo pet stores where it's like they got dog stuff, cat stuff, bird stuff, and then, a little fish section. It was my two choices for stores when I was in high school. So I didn't have great selection in high school, but nowadays, I go into Petco's. They've got things like Ember Tetras, Rams. The people in the aquatics section actually seem to have a pretty decent idea of what like of care and everything, and they don't to the same extent they used to. They're not trying to commit, buy a common pleco and put it in a 10-gallon tank because it'll keep the tank clean by eating all the algae.
Right.
Um, you know, and I mean, I've seen some shitty stores. I walked in. You guys remember me telling you about that pet store in Massachusetts? That it's a combination soda warehouse and fish shop. You
Yeah.
know, I went in there once buy some fish, and I noticed that they were keeping rubber nose plecos in a tank with it was literally a sail tank with only convict cichlids and rubber nose plecos, and the all the rubber nose plecos were at least missing one eye.
Wow.
The cichlids were going down on them, and I'm telling the fish person like, hey, your rubber nose plecos are all getting killed by those cichlids, and she's just like,
What are you gonna do?
mm,
That's
what
crazy.
are you gonna do? So it's like I think at least the Petco's in our area. I don't know if it's representative of the entire country, but they definitely have improved.
Yeah.
I would not sleep on Petco. I think that Petco's I've been to definitely seem to specialize in either saltwater or freshwater, in that they'll do better in one or the other. But they've definitely gotten better over the last few years.
That's true, and because the one Petco that's near House of Tropicals, when I went there once, there was someone that was like in the saltwater clubs and stuff like that, and they seemed involved. Whereas like I do feel like the one like in Pasadena near us, it's like there's not like a saltwater person there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so that is interesting. Aaron, how have you been feeling about Petco's versus the local fish stores?
so I don't mind Petco because you can get some deals in Petco. Like
Mhm.
I got like they had some like crypt flamingo tissue cultures from Petco for like $10, and like that kind of stuff. Like you won't even see those kind. I mean, you'll pay arm and a leg for that kind of stuff other places. So they've got some steals if you know what you're looking for. So I kind of use it for that. Um, but I think there are worse. Unfortunately, there are some worse LFSs than the Petcos around here, and so you know, and I don't like the flame stores, but there's a pet store that I just drive past. And sometimes I go in there and I'm like, just to kind of see, like, want to give them some business or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's so awful that I just can't bring myself, and I'll just go to the Petco because it's on the way. But I like the Petco.
Yeah.
And now Petco's got isopods. What?
Yeah,
Man,
that was. I saw the terrestrial isopods and cups. We don't know if they're alive or not. I didn't actually get to
I have
check.
no idea.
Only
I
one
did.
way to find out.
Yeah, but they're jumping out there, man. I mean,
But
what
they're
are you gonna do?
trying. I mean,
Yeah,
they can't be. They can't be
I
worse
will.
than some Petco's reptile or some LFS's reptile departments, especially.
I will say this, and I'm not. I'm going to follow your policy of not directly naming a store, but a Petco has never tried to sell me a dead coral for $70. So
Yeah. I would say like the
they probably
Petco. I've always the thing that impresses me in Petco's like versus the LFS's the most is like one honestly like employee wise. There's usually an aquatics employee around. It is a smaller aquatic section, so that helps. But like I feel like there's someone around to help. That's not always the case in all LFSs depending on the setup. And the other thing is that the tanks have actually been like really clean every time I've gone in. Like the glass is
they
clean.
just redid the one in Colombia, so they got a whole new system.
Yeah. So whatever that new system
yes.
is, like the tanks always look relatively nice compared to before. So, uh, where do you think they're threatening LFSs the most? Like, what do you think they're stealing business from them in? Like, is it the fish, the dry goods, the
Price of
isopods?
I think tanks. I mean, I don't think. I think most LFSs I've walked into can't compete with the well-stocked Petco in just terms of price of the tanks and the quantity that are for sale. I mean, there's exceptions, like for instance, Hot has a great selection of tanks, but that's because they, just expanded their floor
Yeah,
space
and that's
and
House of
now they have a lot
Tropicals
more room.
for the uninducted. When we say hot, HOT, House of
Sorry, I forget
Tropicals.
that everybody is in the
Yeah,
Baltimore area.
yeah, they do have
But
a nice amount of space for the
yep.
tanks.
But I mean, most stores you go into, they're not going to have a lot of tanks available, so that's one thing Petco will beat them on.
And then if they have better
I feel like
fish and
normally
stuff,
Petco's,
you might buy some.
yeah, feel like normally Petco is like at least a few dollars cheaper on the fish than the LFS. Like you'll get an Ember Tetra for like 3.99 versus like 5.99 or something like that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And so that's interesting because
They,
when I was researching for this topic in their report, they talk about like investing in aquaculture and kind of taking credit for more fish being bred because they're kind of asking people to breed these fish for them. So they might have an advantage on the supply side for that as far as price goes. What are you saying, Aaron?
I mean, if you're a farm and oh, sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna say the thing. I never. So I mean, I'm only really into killies. You guys know what kind of fish I see. Fish I'm into are not in any pet store really. I mean, they're not even in our LFSs half the time.
Right.
So so when I go there, I'm not looking for the fish, but I do notice like if you go there with the right eye, you can get some deals. You know what I mean? Like I got some. Uh, 'Cause have you guys heard about the SKUs in Petco? Where they order a
Yeah,
fish and it comes in the supplier sends them a different fish.
Yeah.
They have to use a set number of SKUs, and so sometimes you'll get a really expensive, you know, like whatever popular or just rare fish for the same price as you would get for like a normal Endler or whatever. And so
I've had that.
I've got
Yeah,
some. So if you go and you know what you're looking for, you will find like fancy guppies for mutt guppy prices. You'll find female fancy guppies and female fancy Endlers for regular mutt guppy prices or 199 or whatever. Um, what else? There was something else that I had. I couldn't remember what it was. Sometimes even plecos will be, under the wrong SKU, so you'll get a fancy pleco for a regular price. So if you know what you're looking for, the pleco is not bad. I do feel bad because it's like sometimes taken away from LFS, but if I'm going on a mission, I always stop by Petco.
Right. Right.
I have gotten that. I won't name the location to protect the employees, but I had that happen once with some saltwater fish, and I tried to tell them like, "Hey, you're not selling this under the right species," and they were like, "No, we have to sell under that." I was like, "Okay," so I bought it. Save
Wow.
some money.
Wow. What was it? What was it?
It was an orchid dotty back.
Okay. And how much
Wow.
are they usually, and how much did you buy it for?
Let's see what they're usually sold for.
Oh man, you saltwater people. You getting the triple digit
I'm
singular
not I'm not in
fish.
saltwater anymore.
My bad, my bad, my bad.
Um,
He's reformed.
Saltwater fish is
okay.
too expensive, man.
Just what I was expecting. Live Aquaria is selling captive bred ones for $60,
Okay.
but then you got to factor in shipping and everything. I want to say I got the one I got for 35.
All right, that's not bad.
It was a couple years ago. 2021,
Yeah,
early 2021.
yeah, no. I think like the only thing that's really holding Petco back, like honestly, is the beta walls. Like, bro, like there's so many people who'll never shop there just because of that. Like, if a
They
LFS
do.
can have the drip walls for the beta fish, I don't know why Petco hasn't just like put that everywhere. Because everything, all their other fish stuff is like it looks great. So what's the problem?
Yeah, they're always gonna take flack for those betas, man. That's just the way it is.
100%. Um, yeah, I mean, I agree with what you guys said. I think like I go in for a tank, and then it just kind of will easily, roll into me buying like a tweezer, or they have actually the Imagitarium turkey baster. I like it's nice. It's very clear. You can see like there's some small things like that where the that's where it starts kind of adding up because like I'm not buying the stuff that I'm buying at LFS is now shrinking more and more because the Petco's so close to me. But the fish, they're gonna have to bring in some more killifish and stuff before I don't want any dwarf blue gouramis. Uh, Bob Bravo says betas in a cup remind me of goldfish at a fair.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that still a thing?
I've heard that it is.
Mm.
I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be.
Somebody I was
I
talking
haven't.
to fairly recently said that they got into it with the goldfish.
That's
Mm.
how I got into it. My first fish was a goldfish from the Cherry Blossom Festival in Japantown, and my parents probably really kicked themselves for letting me take it home.
I mean that it is a story you hear a lot, so it is something. It's like it's bad, but like at the same time, people that want the hobby to grow, it's like, so do we just keep doing this like at all cost, no matter the cost?
You know, I was at a store last year, and this woman came in at London Town, and she had a goldfish in a bag because they got it as a party favor at her kid's birthday party,
Mhm.
and she was trying to find out like what she actually needed to do to keep the goldfish alive. She was not happy. It was like he was like, "Well, you're probably
Terrible.
gonna need like a
A pond.
a little bit bigger than a 5 gallon tank." And I mean, he wasn't even trying to make a big sale off her, but that it was a lot more than she bargained for.
Right. All right. Well, Petco, I'm just putting you on notice for the beta. Like, you can't have an ESG portal and have fish dying in cups in your store. Like, what are we doing? That's not very sustainable. I just want to point that out. But to the local fish stores, you know what? You might wanna just take note.
They're definitely feeling the pressure.
Get
They're
some.
definitely
You
gonna be feeling the
guys.
There's only
pressure.
so much.
So much what?
Sorry, I was gonna say there's only so much a small independent store can do against something with the size and power of Petco. They can afford to get like an exclusive contract with a fish farm,
Mm-hmm.
like an LFS can't do that. Um,
That's true.
they can buy at such a giant scale of tanks. Like I imagine, like the local stores around us aren't paying the same rate for Aqueon tanks that Petco is, just because they're not buying as many.
I want.
Um,
Yeah, I
does
wonder if that
Petco
is true.
actually does Petco own Aqueon, or is Aqueon a separate company? I don't even know. Like
I need to look into that because
Petco's
I'm
huge.
pretty sure the company that owns Petco owns like a lot of other things that would probably be disturbing to find out. Um,
Right, like
Yeah.
pretty sure there's like over a dozen Petcos just between DC and Baltimore area. Like
yeah.
there's a lot of them across the country.
What you gonna do? Well, I wanted to finish up on a lighter note, so I wanted to get your reactions to some of the r/aquarium posts that I
Uh,
kind of I took note of. And the first one I wanted to take a look at is I just put it in our chat, but I'll put it on the screen for the people too. It's a picture of a 10-gallon aquarium. Give me 1 second. And
I will say,
it's exploded.
with the frequency of posts I see on our aquarium of people putting aquariums on improper stands, it is surprising to finally see like something that exploded and it's not on like, uh falling apart IKEA bookshelf. You know what I mean? Like that actually looks pretty sturdy. Looks pretty stable, like a pretty stable platform.
I know, that's why I said it's like when I saw something explode, I was like, oh, here we go, another Redditor. But then it was fine. But I still saw comments with people say like, you gotta make sure your tanks are level. I'm like, it's a 10-gallon. It's not gonna explode because it's a little unlevel.
And it is hanging off the edge.
Is it?
Oh, I didn't catch that.
1 second.
Oh, yeah.
Let me enhance.
That's not gonna do anything.
I was about to say that little edge, like, eh.
For a 10-gallon, yeah, it's probably not a big risk. If it was like a bigger tank, then I'd say it would be. Honestly, what if they sleepwalk and they accidentally like punch the tank in the night?
I mean, it still weighs, whatever. Punch the tank. What?
I'm just saying, like that's a lot of damage. Like it. I don't know. Maybe they threw a cinder block at it for internet clout.
I mean, I do sometimes
It's gotta
wonder.
be. I don't believe this. I don't believe it.
You don't think that it could have just spontaneously combusted like this?
No.
That's interesting that you're taking that up. You're just saying that this person's straight up lied.
I mean, like, look at how the glass shattered.
Yeah.
I believe it broke. I mean, it shattered out. It looks like it shattered out. Okay. But I don't buy it.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Rob, I'm with you, man. I don't buy it.
2,500 upvotes off of it. That's to some people, that's a pretty serious thing. Like that's worth shattering a 10-gallon tank.
I mean, there is actually a Reddit like program where you can. Oh, okay. Wait, let me pull it back up. Anyone that's in the chat, I'm gonna pull the picture back up, and you guys tell us if you think you buy it. Because Bob in the chat, he said I don't buy it. Okay, they said this 10-gallon just spontaneously combusted. They also said it's like brand new, by the way. Like they said this is like a brand new thing. They just were excited to set it up. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
There's nothing that would make this happen. except a very heavy rock that they jammed into the glass. Just can't see how in the rock. You can't see the rock because it's on the floor.
Okay.
They don't. I don't know. Or it's not or you know what? It's not a fish tank. It's a reptile tank. It's gotta be something.
That is a.
Ooh.
Still, I feel like wouldn't it be the steams that would be the first to go? I don't know how if they use the same strength silicone for reptile tanks that they do for aquariums.
But even like for a tank,
I don't think it's this.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't think it's the silicone. I think it's the glass. The glass is thinner.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is like you said, if it was like a terrarium, like a purpose built for reptiles or amphibians. But even then, I feel like the glass wouldn't shatter like that because water is like a continuous force. It's not like one part of the water is pushing against the glass stronger than the other. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm gonna pretend I know what you mean.
Somebody said wonder why the top is bowed up. I don't believe this.
I don't know.
So you're going with the they smashed it for internet clout?
That seems to be what.
I won't say that they smashed it for internet. I could believe that it's not a real aquarium and it was some kind of terrarium thing or homemade, or maybe they tried to
homemade. Come on,
it was wrong.
It's not a homemade.
I think that's
just saying. People do stuff with tanks, man. I don't know. I just can't believe this. I can't believe it. He didn't just sit it on his nightstand.
Yeah.
Split up and it break.
It's on a solid nightstand.
Actually, wait. Can you see the floor in this photo? No, you can't.
Yeah. Wait.
I was gonna see if there's water in the floor anywhere.
Jesse said,
There's not even water on the. There's not even water on the desk,
one second,
man.
I'm
Like,
trying to
come
pull
on.
it
Yeah,
up. Jesse said they put the
the zoom.
colorful pebbles in the tank. That's what made it explode.
Yeah. But next, this is fake.
Yeah, the disc doesn't even look wet.
Okay. I'm trying to find the one that. All right, I thought this was interesting. So this is 13,000 upvotes. I'm gonna share this link with you guys, and it says fish care. It's like other fish care. It has like all the parameters and stuff, and it says plecos, water optional. What do you think? 13,000 upvotes. I'm convinced they can survive anything.
I don't think I've seen this post.
I feel like if
They
you
don't
had
want to see.
Yeah, I would
I don't.
think that a lot of those people who spend like, $400 on some rare L number would disagree with that.
Y'all don't want to see. I have the worst track record with Plecos. Y'all don't want to. You know.
you don't think that water's optional with them? I mean,
Plecos are. I mean, I see the discus there. There are other tanks. I mean, there are other fish that are easier than Plecos.
what are they?
Oh, endlers. Endlers is just that water fish.
Okay. Okay, let me find this other one.
That's nice. Man.
Oh, I love these. This is just a snarky post, but the is my filter too strong post? No, that's a classic. Actually, is this person joking?
You have that one that I sent you of the guy with the tinfoil barbs?
Wait, send it to me again if you can. But wait,
I don't know. It was like a couple months ago.
Okay, I'll
You
check.
said that you
Yeah,
had saved
yeah,
a couple
yeah.
I sent you.
I'm on one monitor, so like some of the things I thought I could do
No
are
worries.
harder. But the person that posted this, like, they actually aren't joking. They're really asking if the filter's too strong for their fish.
I think it's possible for a filter to be too strong.
So you think this is
I think
good?
I think well I need to actually open the video, but I think that there are some fish that are adapted to that are adapted for water that is certain currents or something. So if you put a giant canister filter on a tank with like your pygmy sunfish, for instance, I think they might not like all the flow.
Well, what about
I don't think
click on the video and you tell me what you think.
it's not open it. Oh, open in browser. Give me a sec.
Aaron, are you seeing this?
See it.
I'm actually not seeing anything when I click on the link. It just takes me to like a thumbnail of Reddit.
Okay, well, I'll send it to you directly. Aaron, what do you think of this flow level?
Let's see. Does it work now?
Might be
Yeah,
too
here
much.
we go.
That might be too much flow. I mean, but the fish actually don't look like they mind.
Well, what about the
Fish
noise
look-
Well, they're
level?
all
This has to
barbs.
be loud as hell.
No, I don't think that's a problem. I think they're all barbs. They're not
Right.
they're not fish that don't like current.
It is. It says 6
and-
cherry barbs, 5 golden barbs, and 3 rosy barbs.
And also, I
I
mean,
mean,
for fish from like rivers, we have to remember that the current we're providing for them is nothing on how much flow there actually is in their wild habitat. And I'm not just talking about the gallons per hour, but also the area and focus of the flow. If you go to like a river at a park and you watch it, like it's not like a single directed jet of from a filter outflow, but it's just a giant wall of current, and they can use the rocks and stuff to rest when they need. They go into like the little pools on the side of the river when they want to rest,
Right.
but they go out into the current.
Yeah.
So like I don't think that's bad filter
Okay.
in that case.
Red r
It
slash
looks sensational.
aquariums is actually Aaron is saying it's fake again. They just did it for Reddit. That's what he's saying. It's got like 10,000 upvotes. It's worth it. Okay, this is
Oh, yeah,
this
that
is the
one.
next one that I wanted to do. It's a woman that is in a mermaid suit, and what fish is this again?
Sturgeon. It's some species of sturgeon.
It just her entire head is in its mouth.
I mean, yeah,
Look at that.
yeah, that's
it's
crazy.
it's that that rule of thumb about don't put something in a tank big enough that's small enough to fit in the fish's mouth. I mean, I guess that applies to all sizes of fish, but
The person who said,
Yeah,
"Oh wait, sorry, I missed the water's going fast." The person who posted that said the filter was on its lowest setting. What kind of? Are you using a
that's
pond pump? Sorry.
crazy amount of flow. But I mean, the fish seem happy, so
yeah, I mean, if I was him, I'd fill the tank all the way to the top. But
So if you're at this aquarium, this is your job. Like this happens. Like, are you employed the next day? Or
well,
oh, I'm
I think
out.
somebody said
I'm
it was
out.
China, and I don't think their workplace protections are that great.
what?
So I kind of imagine that the next day she was told, "Yeah, get back in the tank."
You think it was, you think like I'm sorry, you could not pay me to get back in there. Like it tried to eat me.
I don't know.
Okay.
I want her to
I
do an interview. She needs to
yeah,
get on this. She needs to get on this live chat. We got to talk about this.
Does anyone speak
someone
Mandarin?
has to find her.
Okay. This is the next one. This isn't r/aquariums, but this is aquaswap. I thought was a funny post.
Ooh,
Okay.
Oh, I love
The
Aquaswap.
aquaswap for sale, San Jose, California, $500. And I didn't notice this before, but they put the dollar sign like at the wrong end. So that probably should have been
Oh,
that probably should have been the red flag. And it's $500, 3 brand new 40-gallon breeders plus rack, and it looks like a custom made rack. What do you think? Is this a steal?
so I get that it's San Jose and prices are really expensive, and we all need to make a living, but no.
No,
yeah, that's a lot. A lot for a overbuilt, too small custom wrap.
I've the
You know, I said this
go for it.
I said this when you guys showed it to me, and I think it actually he's marketing it wrong. If you replace those 340 breeders with front opening 36 by 18 exoterras, that would be a
And
great
it's
dart frog
perfect.
rack.
Perfect.
But for aquariums, no, there's just not enough room.
Yeah, this is like
It would need to have drawers. If it had drawers, I would pay. If you could slide it, if you could slide out the tanks, then yeah, it'd be worth
if it had drawers, it'd be
Mm.
1,000. It'd be 1,000.
But Aaron, could you imagine having to pull out a 40-gallon breeder on a drawer?
I can
That's a
imagine.
lot of
I can
weight.
imagine the
If
whole
it's got
thing falling
wheels,
on top of me.
Yeah, right?
well, I'm assuming it'd be counterbalanced properly, but you
Yeah,
gotta.
That's assuming a lot.
It's.
that's a
I
lot for
think yeah,
$500.
Yeah.
yeah. He's trying to sell his mistake for the price of the lumber.
Yeah, it's always interesting aquaswap like seeing what the top post is for the month because usually it's people just like roasting someone for posting an atrocious deal. Although I do, oh look at this, the top one for the month
Ooh,
is $25 Elisoma Gilberti. Is this a singular
Oh, you
one?
got competition.
It's a single male. Come on, dog.
That's how much. That's how much I was selling mine for.
Oh my gosh, really? I'm never putting them in
But
the
I assume
club
you were
out.
selling them as a breeding group, right? You weren't just selling a single solitary male.
Yeah,
Now wait a
I
sec.
mean,
Wait a second. I gave you an extra mail. Why didn't you have any mails left? What's the real reason? You said they all died. What do you mean by
no, no,
that?
no. So okay,
Or did they all
I
get
had,
turned
I
into
had,
cash?
no, 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 no. So I did really well with a couple of spawns, and people wanted them, and I was like, I can't. Like I was telling people, like, I don't have any breeding groups. I was really male heavy. Like, listen, I don't have any breeding groups. I have a bunch of males. I'm not gonna pair them for you. I'm not gonna try. Um, I just I don't have them. Like, please, I'll take a male. Da, da, da. I'm like, okay, well, you'll take a male. I'll give you a male. I got extra.
Oh my gosh. Uh, People are so
That's like
crazy.
that's the market price.
I get emails
Well,
from people who see my like auction items on the club auction site and they want me to like ship them the fish.
hmm
And I'm like, bro, if I was willing to do that, I would have put it in the club auction.
Hey, I mean, after the guppies that I got yesterday came in, I have a whole new risk tolerance for being willing to ship fish.
I mean, that's true.
Those guys,
The isopod survived 2 weeks in a UPS ground package. It got return sendered to me and they came back alive. I sent it on the 14th. It got here on the 30th. So
So that might be a thing for your next podcast is how much can fish handle when shipping?
I mean, I don't know. I might have to euthanize them first and ask their spirits.
Excuse me.
I thought it.
No, this that
Go for it.
sorry, no, I was gonna talk about this Elisoma a little bit though. Like these fish, they are very I mean, they're really spectacular, but they're hard. I think they're worth the price. They're
Yeah.
tough.
No, I do think that they're worth the price. This
Yeah, look,
person
see,
is.
that's
What do you think
yeah,
of $20
that's
shipping?
yeah, that's I mean, look, it's sold out.
I mean,
I'm telling you, man.
people have been begging for these on this subreddit for a
Telling you,
while.
telling you.
But this
The
comment,
crazy part is they
go for it.
no, the crazy part is they as many eggs as they lay, you would think that it would just be brainer, but you just can't keep them.
Yeah.
Is it
Just
just
can't keep them.
getting enough food for the fry?
Yeah, the fry are incredibly small, and if you don't have a tank where the fry can just live on all that stuff, you're gonna have trouble.
Yeah.
Have you thought about trying to do a container pond? Let nature feed the fry?
Yeah. So I've tried a lot of things and probably just not tried them all that well, but like put some in a pond, didn't get really anything out of them. He lived okay, but the fry didn't get out of the fry didn't come out of them. The most success I had was pulling the eggs and putting them in a fry rack and just pouring in paramecium and vinegar eels
Hmm.
and green water. It was a lot of work. And like
Yeah.
just and you got the stars have to align for you to have the spawn and the infusoria all at the same time and be ready to go like it did.
Yeah. I think if I was gonna do like my dream setup, it would just be them in a heavily planted 75 gallon. I think you'd get like hundreds of them, but that's a
I feel
lot.
like I
Yeah,
saw a tank like that on the Namfa subreddit one, not Namfa subreddit, Namfa forum back when we still used internet forums instead of Facebook groups and Reddits.
yeah.
But it was like a woman keeping was it 55 or 75? And it basically just like lived like they would in nature. It's like a giant tank for a small group of fish that size.
Yeah. Now this comment is kind of interesting. It's I love you're promoting this awesome species, but basically the person's like you need to emphasize more how much they need live. Like I don't say this to be a dick. My friend breeds these where I live, and she refuses to sell them to people because they die without adequate live food, and most people don't have the time or ability to care for this fish. It's an expert level fish.
I
I
think
wouldn't
the
call them
only reason you
expert.
need to feed I think the only reason you need to feed them live is nobody has had the guts yet to get a little pipette and force feed them flakes. You know, like ducks on foie gras farm.
Bro, we're gonna put you on like a
We need,
trial, like a
we need
tribunal.
to get you some. Yeah,
This is
we need to get you
crazy.
some.
Yeah. Oh, hey,
These are no. Here's the thing. You're gonna have them, and you're gonna be sweating, and then you're gonna be like, okay, they're not eating. Time for the live food, and then you're not gonna go back because it's like you don't want to.
I
You
know
don't. I
my
mean,
limits. Nano.
$50 $50 for a pair. You're gonna make sure they do well.
No, I know my limits. Nanofish that only eats live food. I'll enjoy them in your guys' tanks. I'll stick with my fish.
uh,
I
okay.
don't I don't have the discipline to keep live food cultures constantly going.
I feel like I've like gotten too many fish like this because like I have them and I haven't focused
Mm.
on them, but now I have the scarlet baddis pairs. And it's like basically the same issue with a different fish. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't think it's that like I see this part of my problem. I think that people are babied too much in this like hobby, like where they don't know how to do anything. Like you shouldn't keep
Yep.
fish if you can't like keep a simple live food culture. Like I'm not saying you
This
have to
is
have live food, but I'm just saying you should be capable of doing it and not being a big deal. Like some microworms, some grindleworms, like it's not hard. I don't think that makes a fish expert level just because it needs to eat some worms. So.
I don't necessarily agree with you on the live food part, but I will agree on the babying part of this hobby. we live in an age of technology where every single person basically is walking around with a smartphone capable of accessing the greatest repository of information in human history. And people still come out of the fish store, walk home, and post on Reddit, "Hey, I got some tinfoil barbs for my 20-gallon tank. I just found out they're gonna get big."
Yep. Okay.
Just saying, Google the fish while you're at the store.
Bob is triggering me in the chat. Okay. Bob says, I bet you they'll eat aquarium co-op magic feed.
Have they?
No. Of course, no, and of course, Aaron leaves for this week. He's the one that could speak this. Aaron, I need you to react to that.
No, I said will report back. I put it in there.
Oh, you put it in there. Okay, okay. You haven't tried it yet?
I mean, they don't eat it if it's not moving. Like I don't they like study the food and wait for it to move and then they strike. Like they're not gonna just pick at anything that's not moving.
So like I say,
I don't see it
tried
happening.
Daphnia?
They don't eat it if it's not moving. In my experience, they don't eat anything that's not moving.
They eat frozen.
And I mean, not even
they've
like
eaten
floating.
frozen. They've eaten frozen bloodworms. I haven't done freeze dried, but they did eat frozen.
I wonder.
Like once or twice, or like do they eat it all the time?
They seem every time I put the frozen bloodworms in there, they ate it just happily.
You're over there spreading that misinformation.
No, okay, this is
don't,
why I'm
don't
saying.
anybody else
No, it's not. This is why I.
Once it's on the ground.
No, they ate it. Like they was like, oh, it's a worm. Look, this is why Bob triggered me because okay, Corey is not 100% responsible for this because every time he says it, he's like, I mean, like caveat thing, but the saying is like, magic feed is like baby brine shrimp, and bro, it's not a replacement for baby brine shrimp. Like that drives me crazy. Like fish can tell when something is alive. Like my pea puffers are not eating magic feed. Like it doesn't work. Like and like it stays in the water column, quote unquote, but like it gets caught up and stuff. Like it doesn't like swim around in the way that you would imagine when they say that. But like I want your reaction to that. That they keep saying it that magic feed is like baby brine shrimp, and I'm like, bro, no, it's not, and it doesn't have to be. But
have you guys tried a food called golden pearls?
I've heard of it, but I've never tried it.
Yeah, I've seen it mentioned on forums, and supposedly the structure of it, it's supposed to like slightly move in the water column and attract picky feeders. I've never actually gone around to buying it and testing it because it's more for like fry food.
Yeah,
well, I was just curious if you guys had.
I think picky feeders is different though than fish that only eat live things. Like I do think picky feeders might eat it, but to me, things that only eat live food, like that's not the same as a picky fish, you know? Because picky fish do eat prepared foods. It's just they're not gonna just eat anything you throw in there. But Aaron, I know you've been using magic feed. Is it like baby brine shrimp for you?
It's not like baby brine shrimp for me, but I think this Corey's products. I think he's jaded by the fact that he does a bunch of live bears and they eat anything, and so like, yeah, it's great in the InOurTanks. I don't have to waste baby brine shrimp on those small fish. I can dump in the magic feed, but it's not everybody's not eating it.
Yeah,
it's decent. I like it, but
yeah,
it is not a replacement for baby brine shrimp, unfortunately.
And to give,
wish it was because he's been out of stock for like 2 months, but
it's like we wish that, and you know he is out of stock of the baby brine shrimp because they ordered another thing of magic feed because they ran out.
Yeah, and that it's sensing me right now. Every time he says it's like,
so,
exactly. I want brine shrimp.
That's why I'm triggered. No, it's not. Bring it back. But another thing that's interesting, to give him credit, because I agree, on one of his recent streams, he said that he thinks the community pellets should be more popular. Apparently, they haven't sold nearly as much of them, but it's like the same formula, and the size of them is much more like practical for the average person.
Huh.
I'm not gonna get it until the brine shrimp comes back. So.
I'm just gonna say, where is it? Bug bites. I think bug bites flakes are just like the like everything eats them. They're not that expensive, and you know, they're made from your favorite insect, the black soldier fly. So.
I do have the black soldier flies. I think they're hopefully hatching into flies soon, and then I can start my but I will say the only black soldier fly larva flake I used, I think, is the same one Aaron did, the extreme one. That was, it just felt disgusting. Like when you touched it with your hand, and that's what thing I like about the magic feed is it to me it smells really good, so I like feeding it. It was like the opposite
Yeah.
with the black soldier fly flakes. It felt terrible, and the fish were like, "Really, this is what's for dinner?"
Yeah, the
I'm
fish
telling
didn't
you,
really like it.
pretty much every fish will eat these flakes. I even would feed these to saltwater just to see if they like the taste. Basically, the only fish I have had that would not eat bug bites flakes are, like herbivores like plecos and darters. Well, actually, the archerfish don't eat them because the archerfish won't eat anything because they're super picky eaters, which I should have known before I bought them.
Well, you should have gotten
But
magic feed, idiot.
yeah, I don't think they'd go for that. But oh, and darters from high current streams like rainbow darters won't eat this, but pretty
Okay,
much every other fish will eat this.
okay.
You know what I don't like about
Maybe I
that
should
food?
try it
It's
sometime.
the flakes are too thin in that bug bite. That's why I don't like it. It's way too
I mean,
thin. I like the extreme flake because it feels like you actually got something in your fingers.
Hmm.
The bug bites one is just like it's like oh, it's just too thin and funky. It doesn't feel
I
like
think
anything.
fish actually like that though,
Oh, 1 second.
because
Don't bother looking at the stream, John. I'm just making a little update to your video feed there. All right,
I think
continue.
fish actually like the thinner texture because it comes apart as soon as it hits the water. And I imagine a lot of the smaller fish like tetras actually prefer that because they're not hunting big prey in the wild. They're going above the leaf litter looking for like tiny little copepods and stuff. So like the smaller the prey is probably better for them. They're not like us. They can't chew.
They not like us. They
I
not
guess
like
that's true.
us.
I guess
Suck.
that's true.
Let me feed these
I'll
guys.
give it another try. It doesn't come in it doesn't come I don't honestly the biggest problem that I have with it is that I can't get my fingers in that jar. That's why I really don't like
Mm.
the bug bites. The jar is not the right size.
Uh,
I don't know who like you sprinkle, don't you? You just like is that how
Yeah,
you get
I,
in
I
there?
basically I mean, it depends on the tank. If it's like the Earth Eaters, I just throw in a clump. If it's like this tank, which has like all these tetras and gold barbs and opaline gouramis, I just take a big pinch and then I just sprinkle a little bit and then I drop whatever I didn't crush. So there's like a mixture of
Mm.
sizes.
mm. You know what food I need to buy again that I really liked? Extremes nano pellets. I really like those a lot. Like the consistency and
I'm
stuff,
gonna
and things ate them. I like them. I like them better than the community pellet so far, and they
oh
floated
you
decently.
you do like it better than the new co-op pellet? You like
Yeah,
the nano better?
yeah. Things. I mean, things eat the community pellet like a normal food, but like I felt like stuff was more excited about the extreme one, and their big fellas pellet. The cribs love that. They love that stuff. Um, but variety is king.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah,
Do your thing.
I found
Let me
a
check that community pellet.
I found an aquaswap posting that Petco needs to buy.
Yeah.
$500 beta system. $500 beta system. They can afford it. Come on. Come on.
I
I
think
mean
it
that
was a pretty cool system. I'm not even a beta guy, and I would be like tempted if I was in that area.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
what do you guys think of this $700 125-gallon high-tech planted tank setup?
So I think that posting that with the fish and the plants and everything in there kind of gives you the impression that you're getting the whole setup, which I think that price would be starting to be reasonable. But I think the guy clarifies in the comments that it's just the tank, the stand, and like a few pieces of equipment, right?
Yeah, I've seen that, which is actually unbelievable.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
unbelievable. What's the $700 for? Is he gonna clean it?
It's like
Is it a
I thought
it's a
about it.
regular one
I
it's a
saw
regular
that when you posted
125?
it. Yeah,
I think so.
not even a sump.
Oh. Oh. Oh, it's so professionally built too. So that does that mean I professionally built it, or does that
I think
mean
he's
that it's
talking about
the
the stand being built. Like you see, there's a couple people on the local Facebook groups who build stands for people, and I mean, they're not bad
yeah.
looking stands by any means. I don't. I mean, I'd rather
It's
my
not sorry, it's not pictured, so I don't believe that it's not a bad.
yeah.
I was about to say it was so professional. Where
I
is it?
like, hey, I can build my my shitty 2x4 racks for what, $50 and 50,
Yeah.
60, $70
Well, okay. What about
versus
that? Wait,
pay.
let me argue in defense. Okay, you got the professional stand, three glass canopies, but look, two 36-inch Phoenix Stingrays and two 36-inch Fluval three. Wait, how long is the 125?
125
It's a
is 6
six
feet,
footer.
72 inches.
Why? This is sorry. I hate this person. Why do you buy two 36-inch of two different lights? That drives me crazy. That would drive me crazy.
And you even like chain
No,
them together. So what is it? You turn them on. How does that even work?
Yeah, no, you
Are they on
can't. You can't chain them.
different timers?
Yeah.
yeah, you'd have 4 different remotes. Actually, no, I think the fluvals you can do off a
Oh,
app on your
yeah, the
phone.
Bluetooth.
So
Yeah, the flugels you can put together, but the two stingrays,
no,
you just
those are remote.
And if you ever lose power, like you gotta go reset all four of them, different sides of the tank probably. I hate that.
I
Yep.
mean, it's just a lot of equipment. I just feel like nobody wants like my question is why do you have two different filters, two different kinds, four different, two different kinds of lights compared, and that huge heater. It's like he'd probably get that 700 if he split it all up, to be honest.
Yeah. Bob
Yeah,
says my two
that'd be a
Hydra
lot of work
lights
though.
turn on and off with the same remote. It's convenient for me. All right, well
That's nice.
that
I don't mind a cheap light,
I do not.
like those Hydra lights.
I think I might go in on some
You
shop
know,
lights soon.
Aaron, you turned me onto those Brine LEDs, and now
They're my favorite.
the next rack I build, I'm just gonna get the like grow light versions and just
Yep,
nail them into the bottom because they work. I
I
mean,
might do
Oh
the
obviously
yeah,
this
same.
they're
tank isn't turned on right now, but man, do they grow plants.
yeah, they work. They work. I like them. I like them. I think I'm gonna. I mean, well, you can see how I have them. They're up high.
Yeah.
I don't really have a cover for them. Otherwise, I put them low.
No, I mean, how I have them here, I worry a little bit about how close they are to the water, but on the other hand, plants definitely like them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't like the light. The light. What do you call it? The light getting into my eyes.
Yeah, I know. That's why
Yeah.
I got these ugly cloths. I need to come with a better solution, but it really does kill me.
I think they're that
Okay.
ugly.
Anyone?
I think you got a pretty good solution right there.
I appreciate that. I'm trying to be a perfectionist. You're like Aaron. Nothing's ever good enough.
Oh, you know
Anyone?
what I used to? Let me show you what I used to block my light. This is tape. It's like this metal tape. I just happen to have extra of,
Oh.
and I just taped it over the front.
Oh, that's nice.
It's
Nice.
yeah. So it's a little bit. You can't really see it because the light's so bright, but it works.
Well, anyone in the chat, I think we've gone through our topics. If anyone has any questions or complaints, if you want to file a defamation suit on behalf of Dan's Fish, um, send it to John.
That's his idea.
Send it to, I,
I like that.
we'll put look to make it fair to Dan. We'll put John's ethics on trial next time. Is it ethical to feed sick fish to your other fish instead
I
of?
am replicating processes in nature.
See, I've always wondered about that because honestly, I don't know if I should do it or not. Like, when you have a thick fish, is that
You're letting him influence you?
is it bad? Well, I'm saying, okay,
No,
hear me out.
let's
I just wanna. I feel like this is a safe space.
Okay, it is.
If the fish is, do you have to worry? So, like, okay, you would not worry about fish that you're feeding becoming sick from the thing that you
Okay.
know what I'm saying?
Let me let me explain my logic
Oh boy.
because there is reasoning to this. In the
Okay,
wild, predators tend to go after the sick, the old, the young, the weakest members of the herd, school, pack, whatever.
okay,
Right?
okay.
generally the strong, healthy members of a species are not as risk as predation as the weaker ones. That's given,
Okay.
right? So I would assume that a predatory species has a better immune system to cope with that. Now, on top of that, I try to if the fish is too big to be swallowed in like a single bite, I might go with like a freezer to euthanize it
Oh
instead
my!
of well, I'm not gonna take it outside and hit it with a hammer, you know. I'm not that cruel.
I see some people say that's like the
But
most humane way, and I'm like, I don't think I could get there.
yeah,
Yeah, that
but I mean
they
like
can
I've
pick
done that with
rocks.
mice
That's
and
no.
I
What?
yeah, like
Oh
you know, you catch a mouse in a trap and you hit it with a hammer
no, I don't know.
or a shovel.
I wouldn't be able to. No, I wouldn't be able to do it. Oh, oh. But I
I
Well,
respect
mean,
you.
you
you
can't let it out.
you'd be surprised what you can do when somebody's watching. So, like
That's right, you
when
gotta
you
have
got to take
witnesses.
care, when you got to take care of business at home, you just got to take care of business at home. You just got
Uh, okay.
like
Your wife's not
you
gonna do
can't.
it. You
Yeah, you gotta get it done. Like
and don't get me wrong, rodents gross me out. Rodents really gross me out, but somehow I'm still the one who
yeah,
has to take care of them.
Okay.
you gotta get done.
Well,
But
But anyway,
go back to
I
the
hear you. I hear you. So so you're
I think
saying
this
in the wild
you've earned
it
the
would
Dan's Fish
be
logo.
naturally evolved to like be able to handle that stuff, and so it should be no problem.
it's a theory. I'm not a scientist. But then the other thing to think about is if the fish is swallowing like, you know, a sick Endler or a Tetra in one swallow, that fish is going right into the digestive system. And I would imagine that stomach acids and stuff will do a pretty good job of killing any pathogens.
Okay.
Like, I mean,
Okay,
Well,
okay.
let me just go cull some fish. Say no.
Okay,
yeah,
what
like,
kind of sick fish would you not do it with though? Because I feel like your logic, like I can't argue with it, but then at the same time, I'm picturing like a dropsy
okay.
fish with like the like a stringy poop hanging out of it. I'm like, I'm not feeding that to my.
Okay. Okay. I see what you're saying. If it's a really expensive fish, I probably would just decide to go with the witch doctor method and try some medications. I've tried that before. I've tried medicating whole tanks and didn't really have much success.
Mm,
I like if you know my red shoulder angels, all of a sudden we're getting sick. I might set up a dedicated hospital tank for them
yeah.
because those guys would be expensive. Um, but in terms of fish being too sick to risk that, it would kind of depend on what the fish I'm using as a doctor would be. If it's something,
A doctor. Come on, you got Doctor Death.
yeah, if it's
That is a great euphemism. Wow. Okay.
Okay,
like okay, so like
the doctor's in.
you know, if it was some really expensive like pike cichlid from South America that would cost like you know $300 to replace. I'm gonna be a little bit more careful than say like a green sunfish from a local river. I mean, green sunfish make great doctors. They have a lot of care and attention. Big
Oh man.
mouths.
Wow.
Basically, okay, so like I see this all the time online. People are like, "Hey, I want a largemouth bass as a pet," but you know those guys get to be like close to 3 feet long. They're big. A green sunfish is everything you would want in a largemouth bass in a package that can safely fit in a 75-gallon. I highly recommend them as a pet
Okay. But
fish.
what's the copay situation?
The copay is normally the fish is dead.
Okay. You pay with your
Gotta
life for medical service.
be with your life. You don't have a disease anymore, but you are dead.
Man.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I guess I hadn't really thought about it like that because I guess I just even though like we say in the beginning, like it's already in the water, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
The diseases are there. Like
yeah, I suppose
it's like we're not create.
you don't dip, you don't do anything. You just like
No, okay. I don't. This is my method of acclimating fish. I do a temp acclimation where I put them in the tank, in the bag, and let them sit for 15 to 20 minutes till they're acclimated to the temperature in the tank. Then I take them out. I take a bucket. I put a net over the bucket. I dump the fish into the net, and then I throw that fish into the tank. I don't drip acclimate because I read so much mixed things, and I lean on the thing that the prolonged time drip acclimating is just going to stress the fish out more than just directly putting in the tank. I just put it in the tank, I give it a few hours, and I start throwing food in and seeing what it likes. Um, but yeah, we're not like our tanks are not natural. We're taking fish from all over the world and putting them in little glass boxes.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
So
whoa! Don't use up our topics for the next, the father fish
I
episode.
okay, I'll end this rant with diseases are there. The diseases, parasites, like any of these tanks where we're mixing more than one species of fish from different sources. Like there's probably a lot of stuff, but as long as the fish are healthy, you know, they probably are not at risk. So like when I
Um,
feed a sick fish to a predator, I'm not super worried because I already feel like the pathogens are out there in the fish room. It's just
that fish
a matter
fishing.
of
Yeah.
like that fish was unlucky enough to get sick, either due to just poor luck, poor husbandry on my part, stress from another fish attacking it, like you were saying earlier. Like if another fish is bullying it, it's more likely to get sick. Um, it could just be bad luck. Sometimes it's just your time.
Bob
All
says
right.
that
So,
they acclimate with a half cup of water every 3 minutes for an hour or so.
ooh, that's that saltwater
I mean, if
acclimation
that's
right
that
there.
works for you, that works for you. But I don't personally do that. I haven't done that in years, and I've had pretty good success.
I just float things for like 10, 15 minutes and then I put it in. I've like
Yeah.
I don't really worry about like temperature if it's like let if it's less than like 10 degrees. I'm not really worried about it. That's just been my approach.
That's another. That's another topic too.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
the only.
we get way out of whack with this temperature thing.
Yeah, I know. You don't want to know what the temperature of most of the tanks in my fish room are right now. They'll go get me in
Oh,
trouble.
I'm assuming they're pretty low, but I'm just saying no. But I mean, even like this is another. Well, this is another thing, but it's just like that idea that like, oh, if I don't get it at like I got fish the other day, they came at 65. No heat pack was not even working. They were fine.
I mean,
Yeah.
the guppies I got that sat for a week in a post office in Wisconsin. God, I cannot say that state for the life of me. Um, they were fine. Every single one survived, and I really thought they would all be dead, but every single one survived over a week.
Yeah.
Uh, over a week extra shipping time.
And that's why I'm like saying with this aqua hunter thing people are talking about, it's like fish shouldn't die when they're in the mail for 2 days. Like
I mean, now there may be some special sensitive fish. Like I don't,
but
but like
more
the
but
fish
I'm
that
just
I'm
saying
into,
more
the
that
fish that I get,
yeah.
it's like I've gotten bags 65 degrees, 60 degrees. I've accidentally changed too much water and dropped the tank down to like 60, 62. Like, I mean, I was sweating, but the fish were fine.
Yeah.
I think we overrate sensitivity in fish sometimes, and I mean, we talk about wanting to try discus. I haven't tried discus yet. You haven't tried discus yet. But I mean, like, I've gone to people's houses and they had discus and they were like, yeah, I just take care of them like any other fish. Like. And I mean, the guy had like 6 discus in a 55-gallon with a sponge filter and they look good.
Yeah.
So, like, I think sometimes I think as long as you're practicing like the basic husbandry, good food, like clean water, enough space, like, I think even the sensitive fish will be fine. Like, I mean, I've definitely let things go in some tanks, and there's plenty of plants to soak up nitrates, and the fish were fine even after like a while.
And if they're not fine, take them to the doctor.
Yeah,
All right, Aaron,
fish gotta eat.
Aaron,
Yeah.
you close us out. You close us out.
Oh no, I don't have anything. I don't have a close, man. I just, I think, uh, you know, take care of your fish the best you can. That's the best you can do. Don't try to kill me over here laughing at all these doctor jokes.
I think that's
The doctor is in.
that's a good that's a
No, I
good
mean,
place to
I
end
need a
on.
new piscophore.
That's what I'm hearing, but it sounds like it's been doing well. Well, to everyone that stopped by, CS5070, Michael, Jaden Cheeks. Sorry, Jaden Cheeks is crazy. Renee, James Holbrook, Bob. Bob was active in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us.
Man.
Cat Girl, Jesse, Unique Sand. Yes, real ones keep isopods, not fish. It's a scripture. I missed that. Yeah, you're right. All right, this has been In Our Tanks. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be back another time, and hopefully we'll be due.
Have a good night.